Hi guys, it's Aoife from Words of Clover and I'm here with my TBR for the Irish Readathon 2024. So if you haven't yet seen mine or any of my co-hosts' announcements about the Readathon this year, I will leave them linked below. We have some great prompts for people to take part in and I'm really excited about the prompts this year. I think they're so accessible for so many reasons, and I think it's very easy in many ways to be able to find a book that fits in with them. I'm now going to show you some of the books that I plan to read. Hopefully I will get all of these read during the month of March. As I always say, this is my favourite month of the year in terms of reading. I normally read some of my favourite books of the year in March, and I just love dedicating an entire month of every year of reading just Irish fiction, and I love that so many people join in on this as well. So yeah, I'm really excited to read all of these books, and yeah, I'll get on and show you some of the books that I'm planning to read for March, and hopefully these will serve as some recommendations for you guys as well. So the first prompt is to read a book with green on the cover. This is the only prompt in our selection that doesn't necessarily have to be an Irish book, but of course I do tend to try and read all Irish during March, so the books that I am choosing are Irish. The book that I'm hoping to read is The Grass Ceiling by Emer Ryan, and as you can see there is green on the cover and like from the bushes in the back and the grass here. And this is, as it kind of says on the cover, this is about a woman called Emer Ryan, and she is looking at the topic of gender in sport, I think with probably an Irish gaze, and talking about being a woman in sport. And this is a pretty short book. I think it would probably be an easy one to fly through and nicely ticks my non-fiction book of the month as well. During the month of March, I like to read a non-fiction book every month, and this happily ticks off that as well. So I'm hoping to read this during March. And then another book, I think I've shown this before, I have had it on my shelf for a very long time. This is one I don't think I will pick up in March and finish in March, but I might pick it up and read a little bit and then carry it through to the rest of the year. It kind of feels like something that would be good like in small bits, and that is Anam Cara by John O'Donoghue. This is spiritual wisdom from the Celtic world. This is one that was gifted to me by my gran a number of years ago. It's one that she has read and that she really enjoyed, and I've had it on my shelf, sitting on my shelf for a very long time, and I've never actually picked it up. And for some reason, when I was looking at my shelf recently, thinking about this year's readathon, this one kind of jumped out at me a little bit, and I was like, maybe this is the year that I finally actually read this and get some wisdom of myself out of it, maybe, and just see if it's something that I will resonate with in any way, if there's anything in here. So I'm looking forward to picking this up, and as I said, probably not finishing it in March because I feel like this is something that you're better off kind of just ingesting slowly, but definitely one that I might just pick up, use March as an excuse to pick it up and start reading it. So the second prompt is to read an Irish book that is somehow related to the number 7. So this could be, it's the 7th book of the month that you're reading. You could pick it up on the 7th day of the week. It could be published in 2007, 2017, 1997. It could end on a page number that has 7 in it. It can be anything. I'm actually it's not cheating, but I'm actually using, some people were giving some really good recommendations in our Discord group, and that if you're not a part of, I would highly recommend, because it's a really great place to get recommendations, to just chat with people who are reading similar books to you. And I am going to try and pick up The Children of God and Fighting Men by Shauna Lawless, which is a fantasy book. This book I don't know too much, but it's set in 980 AD, and it's to do around the Vikings in Dublin at that time, and I think it's a mix of fantasy and Viking history within Dublin or Ireland, and that sounds really interesting to me. It obviously has 7 words on the cover, in the title, so it fits into this really well. I've had this on my NetGalley list for a while since it came out, and I just haven't had the excuse to pick it up yet, and this is the perfect reason to pick it up again. So this is what I'm actually really looking forward to. I have a feeling that the second book in this trilogy series might have come out recently enough as well, so that's something to look forward to. I really like this one. There is another book that I can pick up pretty soon and read as well, but yeah, really happy to finally get an excuse to read this. Number 3 is to read an Irish children's book. I actually don't have many children's books on my TBR at the moment. But one of them I have on my NetGalley list that I want to read is one I can also get an audiobook from the library, is Rock Paper Killers. And this is one that is around a bunch of teenagers who are in the Gaeltacht, which is like a kind of summer camp that Irish teenagers go to, which is where they basically go to improve their Irish. And while you're there for 3 weeks, you're only allowed to speak in Irish. And it's just a great way of improving your Irish. I never went to it when I was a teenager because I never asked my parents to go. They never forced me to go. And now it's one of those things that I regret that I never actually went to, so I can like live the experience that I never got to through this book, maybe though hopefully, like, obviously this has some sort of killer murder mystery element to it, so there is that. But I'm looking forward to reading this, to picking it up. I've heard mixed reviews on it, so I'm kind of looking forward to picking it up and seeing what I think about it. For the cover prompts I think are great because I feel like basically the cover prompts cover everything. There's not only going to be one book that I read during the month that will fulfill one of those cover prompts, but one of the ones that I definitely will read is Listen to the Land Speak by Monica McGann. You guys have seen this book before on a TBR of mine. It's one that I've said, I think I had it on last year's TBR maybe, and I just never got around to it. But this is like perfectly encaptures the nature trees element of the cover prompts that we have. So yeah, it definitely ticks that off. So it's one that I definitely need to read. And to read an Irish book in my favourite genre, I think for this one, again, I have kind of several favourite genres, but I think I'm going to go for historical fiction for this one. And I actually have two books that I need to read, or that I want to read for this prompt. One of them is The Guinness Girls, A Hint of Scandal by Emily Hurricane. This is the sequel to The Guinness Girls, which I read a couple of years ago, which I really enjoyed, which is about the three or four daughters of Arthur Guinness, who obviously was the founder of Guinness, which many people know and associate with Ireland. And it was about them growing up in the 20s, kind of becoming, they were kind of influencers of their time, these flapper girls, party girls, society women, and people were really interested in everything they did, who they dated, who they married, what they wore, what they were drinking. And we're kind of seeing that from the point of view of a girl who kind of grew up alongside them, but she was very much outside of this kind of glamorous circle. She's kind of looking in from the outside in many ways, and we're seeing the difference between her life and the girl's life. And I really enjoyed that for kind of the history of the Guinness Girls. And I was talking about it with my gran then, and she was remembering kind of growing up and hearing about them, and like, you know, the different stories about them as well. And it was just very fun in terms of like being able to, something that I could talk about with her as well. And this is just a sequel to that, where I think we're following on from them from where we left in the first book, and it's one that I am looking forward to reading. And Emily Hurricane with this series, or like, I don't know whether she has more books coming out after this one, or if there are more books, but she always has really, really beautiful covers. I do actually have a physical copy of this book, but my phone, which I'm filming on, is sitting on that book, so I can't show it to you at the moment, but I will show it to you during my vlogs or during my March wrap up when I do eventually read it. And then another book that I have for this is A Maid on Fifth Avenue. I think this might be by Sinead Crowley, if I'm getting the author correct. And this is a historical fiction following an Irish girl who emigrates to, I think it's New York, obviously Fifth Avenue, New York, and we're seeing her experience as an Irish immigrant in New York at a time where I guess a lot of people were traveling to. I feel like this might be, I don't know whether this is the 20s, 30s, or more like 50s, so it could give like Brooklyn vibes in maybe some ways. I'm not sure yet, but the story definitely kind of popped out to me as one that I definitely wanted to read. So this is one that I will be reading on my Kindle during the month, and hopefully one that I will really, really enjoy. Those are some of the books that I have to fulfill the prompts. A couple of other books I have just in front of me that I will show you that I definitely want to pick up. Prophet Song by Paul Lynch. I got this from my brother for Christmas. He asked me which book I wanted, and I told him to get this one for me. I'm really interested in reading this. Obviously it won the Booker Prize, that, you know, so a lot of people have been reading it, but I've also heard really interesting good things and good reviews from people I trust, such as Lisa, one of my co-hosts for the Irish Readathon. She read this and she really, really enjoyed it, so I definitely want to pick it up and see what I think about this book. Another book I have here is actually a thriller kind of crime book, and it's Body of Truth by Marie Cassidy. Marie Cassidy is really interesting. She's actually, as you can see here, she was Ireland's former state pathologist. I think she has a memoir out as well, which I haven't read, but she's someone who's kind of like, her face and her name is like well known, like in like our Irish society. And was she on Ireland's version of Strictly Come Dancing? I can't remember if she was. I feel like she might have been. It's not something that I actually watch, but but I feel like she was on it last year or the year before. But this is obviously her first, I think it's her first fiction book. So this is her first fiction book, and I'm just really interested to read it because obviously she has literally worked in this line of work her entire life. So I would like to think that when it comes to crime and how some crimes are like investigated and how the medical side of it works, like she knows what she's talking about. So I'm looking forward to reading this and seeing what I think about it and seeing if it's good. And then another book that I'm hoping to read is another Booker shortlist, and that is The Bee Sting by Paul Murray. This is one that I have again heard really, really good things about. I think we were following a family who are all living together. We're just following different members of the family as all sorts of things happen to them, and I think there's parts of this that are, I think it's maybe one person, I can't remember, where it's like stream of consciousness that it's told. So that will be interesting. Yeah, again, this is one that I have been really looking forward to reading ever since it got longlisted for the Booker Prize, and then obviously shortlisted, and then it was also a big winner for the Irish Book Awards of the year in November as well, which I got to attend, which was very fun. So yeah, it's one that I really want to read. So those are some books that I'm planning to read during the Irish Readathon. I hope this gave you some ideas if you weren't sure about some books that you wanted to read. If you guys have read some of these books, if you guys know what you're planning to read, I would really love to know. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Readathon starting and just getting into all these hopefully amazing books. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye!